check in with our program right here on 1480 KRAE Cheyenne. Good morning and welcome to KRAE Reports. A week in review. Larry Perotti, Nick Perotti, we're back. A short program for today as I'm still trying to come off sick bay. And Nick made a very good point, which I had to remind him that I'm 33 years older than him, that he's over it, and I'm still kind of suffering through this. Obviously, our 2 trips up to Casper finally took their toll on me. 15 games, in and out of venues, winds up there. Even though we have winds down here coming off the mountain, we're just excessively cold. So I ended up getting both chest and head cold. But like I said, you had it when we first went up there during the regionals, and then you got over it. Well, like I said, you're 33 years younger than me, and, you know, obviously your antibodies are working a lot quicker than mine are. But like I said, I feel good, just trying to get out of this in my throat.
I just don't think you're doing the right things, or at least, again, I think what we probably both had is laryngitis, again, with the amount of games, a lot of talking for the at least 2 weekends up there in Casper for, again, an exciting state championship basketball, whether it was Class 2A, Class 4A, which, again, we'll talk about, but plenty upcoming this week over on the Pro Show, again, 11 a.m. to 1, or at least 1 p.m., hopefully, again, for Tuesday and Wednesday here on 1480 KRAE, but probably just more than likely laryngitis, which, again, I have not fully kicked. I'm just coming out of the tail end of it. I think I'm about 95-ish% at least completed with everything, but, yeah, still, again, not the 100%, but figure that give us a week away after, again, being up in Casper for two straight weekends, get back at it again, as it's been quite a while since we've had KRAE Reports here on the airwaves here on 1480 KRAE. Get some news stories in, especially where in the weeks, even in the past week, we've missed a lot of big happenings, and again, potential news upcoming this week as well too. Again, especially here in Cheyenne, obviously the big national attention that affects the state of Wyoming was the abortion pill legislation signed in by Governor Gordon, which again made waves across the nation as Wyoming the first state to do it. We'll talk about that, but as we'll get into it as we get in that this first hour, this only hour will be a quick one. We'll get into something that I at least was vocal about on Twitter, something that we've been talking about for quite some time here on the program, and that's decriminalization of marijuana, whether it is talking with the Cheyenne Police Department, talking with city council members, talking even with state legislators. It's something that I think that Wyoming needs to take a serious look at, of legalizing or at least finding the steps to, again, whether it's medical, and again, fully decriminalizing and fully legalization of marijuana, as we've seen so many other states in this union do so far. So far, the news, at least, and again, this is something read from the Cowboy State Daily, that looks like the city council here in town, Cheyenne, city council will look into, not saying it's going to happen, but again, we'll look into the process of decriminalization of marijuana, and again, looking into, again, the steps of making it medically cleared, or again, the full legalization. But again, at least it's, in my opinion, it's not going to suffice until it is decriminalized here in this state and in this city. But at least finally we got a step forward of, here's a little glimmer of hope, at least hopefully, that the city council will do something, or at least kind of recognize that, hey, this drug war, this evil, at least kind of look into marijuana, is kind of a joke here in 2023.
Well, here's my opinion on it, and you take it for what it's worth. It was brought up by a city council member from our ward, Ward 3. I believe that the city council will probably push this through, because, again, playing the politics game, the city council is a marked difference than our Laramie County commissioners as far as Republicans versus Democrats type of deal. But I do believe our
it's a marked difference even compared to on the state legislative side.
But yeah, our city council, in my opinion, is a very liberal city council.
It depends on where you look. Again, some entities that we've had on this program, and especially at least during election time, again, it seemed more on that kind of conservative, or again, more on that kind of freedom, libertarian kind of middle of the road side of things. So who knows where, again, as you mentioned again, it was at least Councilman Johnson, Richard Johnson, who was going to bring this up. At least, again, if you read the article again from the Cowboy State Daily, and again, his quotes, and again, we'll reach out and see if we can get him on to talk about this, as we, again, are attempting to get every city council member on this program. But he doesn't sound too confident, but still will move forward to at least entertain the thought with the city council, including Mayor Collins, who have also to a say in this situation, or at least regarding the vote. But doesn't sound too at least confident that it will move forward. But again, who knows? Who knows who will step up and say, "Yeah, I'm for it. Let's get the ball moving, rolling to kind of get this thing, again, as a reality here in the Cap City." And again, if Cheyenne is to do this, and again, that's kind of the question of if right now. But if we are to do it, you got to imagine other cities are following suit. Casper, Rock Springs, some of the majors, and hopefully that starts to kind of peak up on the state legislative side, again, including Governor Gordon. That goes, okay, we got cities legalizing it. Maybe it's time for the state to just go along, and again, in this entirety of the state, let's get on board.
See, here's the problem that this has brought about, and again, what we're doing, and it still doesn't really rectify the problem. We're still going over the border to get the stuff. Okay, what you're doing, and again, I think this is kind of done half-arsedly by the city council. Instead of making it legal here in Cheyenne, where it could be cultivated, grown here in Cheyenne, for example, we're still going over the border to get the stuff, bring it back to Cheyenne. You're not going to get in trouble with it.
What border are you specifically talking about?
Colorado. Because most of the stops are in Greeley, and then they bring it back. But again, what benefit does it have from a dollars and cents standpoint? We're still spending our dollars in Colorado for the pot.
Which, again, is legal down there. And, again, Colorado benefits from our money for, again, whoever does go down and buy that legal product within that state border. Again, obviously, yeah, they're going to come over across and use it here in the state of Wyoming, which, again, is illegal. But, again, we've had that conversation with the CPD where, again, it's still an illegal substance, but it's not seen as, hey, we find it on you, here's heavy jail time. It's more kind of a misdemeanor or, again, something kind of written off.
It's still a slap on the wrist. Basically.
But it's still also to a cost, and that was kind of the thing brought up by at least Councilman Johnson about this, where, again, it's the legal fees and, again, the prosecution. It's costs that are, again, at least it seems in his eye, and, again, I completely agree with it. And, again, I've been kind of at the forefront here on this show, and, again, I feel like within media in this town is, again, it's a ridiculous, situation that we are dealing with, where we are wasting resources. We are contributing to, again, this never-ending drug war that is, in my opinion, completely unnecessary. Again, at least, and I think I've mentioned this a couple times, where, again, where I stand on the drug war, or at least kind of drug situation within this country, is I say legalize all, regulate by the U.S. government, or, again, state governments, local, city, however it may be. But, again, regulate all drugs, make it all legal. And hopefully, again,
you want to step back on that. Not all drugs.
I think, again, it is something that you basically give that ease, or you take it out of the hands out of the cartels. Which, again, we're hearing more and more of the horrific situations down in Mexico right now, and, again, all the way down Latin America, of, again, fueling this illegal need right now here in the States, that causing all sorts of problems, endangering lives down there. Again, we've seen that with American lives. Again, tourists heading down across the border, getting shot at by these cartels. It's something that, in my opinion, again, all drugs, and I say all drugs, should be legal, should be regulated in some way.
Are you talking to, again, cocaine?
Yeah.
You're talking making that legal?
Yeah.
Not, no,
If
I
it-
think you're
again.
I think
If it
you're off
becomes
track.
legal, does it tempt you more? Does it tempt me more to go out and get it? No. I know what it does to me. I know what or at least what it would do to me, similar to other hard end drugs. But it's something that, again, this drug war that has been ongoing for however long, we as a country are losing.
Well,
And it's something that we got to step back and realize that we got to we got to figure out where the problem stems. And again, it is this illegal need that is fueling these cartels that, again, are exacerbating a problem right now, especially at our border. And it's something that, again, marijuana is just a small step forward.
well, and marijuana though has medicinal purposes. Okay, let's again, cocaine does not have medicinal purposes. Fentanyl does not have medicinal purposes.
I'm just saying, would it change if those hard-end drugs become legal here within this country's borders? That,
No,
again,
no.
Is it going to entice more people who, again, already do it illegally? But
Well-
it's just something that you take away the bad end of it, again, regarding the cartels, and you regulate. It's something where, again, hopefully it stems to, again, solving a problem with a drug issue or the drug epidemic that is ongoing, especially as we're seeing right now with fentanyl. Again, if hopefully it leads to more resources of, again, we regulate it, at least it kind of fuels the economy, it fuels kind of money, and maybe it leads to, in a perfect world, again, resources for those to kick the habit.
See what you're doing, and again, I'm not putting words in your mouth, but it's a war on drugs. It's been a war on drugs.
Yeah, we're
for years.
losing.
All right, but you're throwing up the white flag, and I think that's wrong.
No, I'm not throwing up the white flag. It's more so of here's your opportunity to regulate it and again, make money off it. Where, again, obviously that's kind of the government's mainstay as we see right now. That, again, here's your opportunity where take it out of drug dealer hands, take it out of, again, those who commit crimes hands. Here you go, government. Here you go, entity. Here. If they're going to use it, you can make cash off of it. And again, hopefully, in my mind's eye, and again, some, at least, I wouldn't say experts, but again, some of those who've kind of looked into this drug war have kind of brought up the fact of, again, could it lead into, again, with this excess of money, into resources of drug rehabilitation centers, or resources, as we're starting to see, especially within jails now, and we see it here in Laramie County, that, again, we're looking at financial movements to drug rehabilitation, mental health. We're starting to move those resources and kind of address the problem of, hey, we understand it's not this, but it's kind of a more broad, at least extended problem, and let's kind of move those resources towards it.
Well,
like I said, if it's legal, if it's illegal, again, whether it's cocaine, whether it's meth, whether it's this or that, is it going to cause more people in this country to use? I don't think so. Again, it still exists. It's still available, and people still use it.
See, you first and foremost, you said the key bad word, government. This backboneless government that is running the country right now has exacerbated this war with drugs. And it has gotten so far out of hand, that's where you're saying, hey, well, we might as well just give up and let it all be legal. The marijuana.
It's not giving up. It's pretty much of just taking it completely out of their hands.
I say we fight the son of a guns, and doggone it.
You're giving up by it fueling the drug war and making these things illegal.
Now, going back to the marijuana situation, okay, marijuana has been proven that it is good for certain ailments on the medicinal side. It is also probably just as bad if you're drinking alcohol. Again,
It's not as bad as alcohol.
Well,
and again, we also too know
you shouldn't
that
be driving and smoking, right?
people drive and smoke cigarettes right now.
I'm talking
it's
about
a distraction.
I'm talking about marijuana. Let's stay on the subject. My point is that particular drug is a low, again, you go buy alcohol. It's like having wine or beer, okay? You're wanting with the heavy set drugs. Tell me what great medicinal use cocaine is.
I'm not saying any of them do, but it's something that, again, and this kind of starts with the marijuana debates. And again, we're seeing it with other states as well, too. Again, you look down to Colorado where, again, they're looking at and again, there are health, at least properties with mushrooms. We know that is legal in Oregon and Colorado. And again, other states are moving in that direction. But it's something that, again, with the hard-end drugs, and again, at least as I brought this up, and again, we'll address at least the marijuana situation here in Cheyenne. But, again, with the hard-end drugs, we know the health effects that cigarettes cause. People still smoke them. We know there's alcoholism. People still drink. We know that it affects people's driving, but people still do it.
And they get arrested.
It's something that, again, there are still substances out there. Again, even look to the soda industry. We know that sugar's very unhealthy. It causes diabetes. It causes all sorts of health issues. It's still a legal substance. It's still something we can drink and consume. It still causes harm to our health. People can easily abuse Advil, Tylenol. A drug is a drug. It gives you a little, again, you look on Tylenol. You look to even as I'm taking this cold medicine, same as you, it gives you warnings of saying, hey, excess causes this, could cause harm, can do this to you. Mm-hmm. Still available to buy on the counter shelf.
But it has
a drug is a drug.
But it has
and
been
it's something that
approved.
again, all abused or used can have potential effects on your health, whether good or bad.
Well, that's on you. That's on you. The drugs that you are taking, the over-the-counter medicines or the prescribed medicines, have been approved.
But I'm
by
just
the
saying,
Food and
it
Drug
does not stop from
Administration.
those entities out there, not all, but again, for the few out there, to abuse it, to overindulge, to do this or that. But again, it's still there. My point, and again, it feels like you're stuck in kind of the Reagan years of, again, just say no. Again, this drug war, you got to admit, after, again, here we are going into about year 50 of, again, this being addressed since the 80s, that this drug war is a failure. It's causing more harm than it is doing good right now. Again, as we're trying to shut down drugs being available in this country, you got to imagine that, again, drugs right now are as prevalent and as available as probably any time in human history.
And why is that? Answer that question. Why are drugs more available, illegal drugs? Why are they more available? Because of the lack of leadership that we have in the nation's capital.
You realize that, again, we've had a meth problem during other administrations. We've had drug issues during other presidencies,
but
whether it's an R or D.
We also didn't help them out either with it. We offer them, as you mentioned, facilities to rehab, to take care of themselves. We don't offer to send them needles in the mail, or you can go and get high at this particular. Basically, the nation, the national leaders have said, yeah, go ahead. And I think that's stupid. It's illegal.
But again, a person has made that decision, so again, why not do it in a safe, regulated way?
But they're still illegal, aren't they?
For now?
Again, what part of the word illegal do we not understand? Illegal means no, can't do it.
But people, again, that's where you're disconnected. I don't understand.
My disconnect
your disconnected is, again, it still has that tag illegal, but still people do it. And murder is illegal, but still people do it.
And they should do the time for the crime.
Guess what? They do. We've seen, again, what even included in this state, granted, again, a recent case up in Casper where, again, at least entity was able to plea bargain away from the death sentence. But, again, death sentence still exists and, again, still can be used within this state's border. It still doesn't prevent people from murdering others. So, again, it's going to happen. Not saying you make murder legal. And, again, this is a whole different kind of, at least, topic. But, again, this drug war, people are going to find a way. And again, it's not a border situation. Obviously, that does contribute to, again, everything happening right now. But it is something that you shut down the border, people are going to find a way to make it. They're going to find a way to import it. They're going to find a way to get it within this, as it's still illegal.
They should be incarcerated if they are caught. See, the thing is, what you're saying about at the border, and that's basically what we've done. Again, the backboneless district of criminals has basically opened the floodgates. And guess what? Now they're sweating bullets because now there's way too much of this garbage that has come in. And again, the key word is illegal substances that have crossed our borders. Again, marijuana, not so much, and I'm not going to say yay or nay to marijuana. My point is with marijuana, it was voted on by the people, correct me if I'm wrong, to make it legal in some states. All right? Again, long as it was controlled, illegal drugs will never, ever be controlled. There's no such thing as medicinal cocaine. There is no such thing as medicinal.
I'm not saying it's medicine, but it's something that you can control and you can regulate it and go, hey, if you're going to take this substance, here it is, regulated. You can make money off of it if you are state government or, again, federal government. It's something that, again, you take that supplier out, you become the supplier to the situation, and again, hopefully it leads into resources. As you see, again, you mentioned, as again, some states are moving into, here it is, here's clean needles to do your deed, or again, to at least get that fix. But again, you're starting to see that those resources also too are leading into, hey, let's move you into a drug rehabilitation center. And again, there are individuals, I at least. And again, I won't go too personally into the story, but again, there is someone that I'm close with that has a family member that, again, has dealt with drug issues that, as much as they've tried to get that, again, that is still something that they so choose. That is their demon, and it's going to be for the rest of their life. And those people you can't help. But it's something, keep them in a safer way away from, again, the hardened criminals of cartels or, again, drug dealers or whatever it may be, who are going to lead you down even a tougher path.
Well,
or, again, into additional crimes that lead into, again, whether it is using weapons or, again, assault and battery, theft, whatever it may be.
My opinion on the cartels, need to take them out. They are bad. And they have proven their negativity. They have killed more people with their dangerous supplies that they have shipped across.
And see,
our
this is where you're fueled by the media, and again,
I'm
this
not
is
fueled
you,
by the
you
media.
are, and again,
No,
where
I'm
it's
not.
like you
I'm
need
a
to get
smart
out
person.
of this country, which again I have a couple times to various countries. It's something that, again, you go boots on the ground, you go to the citizens, and again, not all cartels, yeah, clearly, again, are they have that kind of evil intention. Again, they're looking to make that ends meet. But again, especially if you look down at the south of the border, especially with Mexico, that again, right now the drug cartels are the lesser of two evil between them and the federal government. Where the federal government, especially as you look towards that COVID time, could care less about the citizens. Cartels were more than happy to feed some of their drug money that they're making off of U.S. citizens back into their communities.
You're talking about the media. The media is the one that's pretty much given the A-OK to this because they backed everything that came out of the District of Criminals. So basically what they did is they got behind this current leadership and said, hey, everything's fine. Well, guess what? Now they're backtracking going, it's not fine. And again, too, Nick, I don't have a disagreement on marijuana. I don't have a disagreement. That is today's drug here in the U.S. And again, it will
I don't even know if that really is a true statement anymore, especially with, again, as we see how rampant fentanyl is, and again, how the epidemic from that is kind of stemming, or at least that's kind of what we're fed.
I think fentanyl is going to be put out of business here pretty soon.
I think that's
until they find a cure for the bad fentanyl.
That's not going to happen, but it's something that, again, fentanyl is kind of the drug of choice. But yeah, again, it does kill off its users pretty damn quickly, and that's kind of the obviously it's clearly a concern. But again, for those suppliers, hey, again, when you're killing off your buyer, that hey, there's no one else that's going to be willing to pay this because, again, no one else is going to want to try this. So I get what you say there. But going back to the marijuana situation, again, it does contribute to the drug war. That, again, does contribute to, again, a multitude of issues. Again, a drug war that is completely ridiculous. That is something that we got to admit as a country and, again, as a world that, again, we have failed at and we've lost, that we need to address it in a different way. And, again, here it starts in Cheyenne, where this state, as I've talked about many a time, is behind the times. It's about a couple decades behind the rest of the nation on the pulse of, topics. And again, this is one of them. Thankfully, again, it's being brought up. Granted, it's been brought up a couple times, but it seems to fail here in and here out here in the state.
Why does it fail? In your opinion.
Why does it fail? Is because
again, don't say you were behind the
you
times.
have representatives that, again, say, hey, we're heavy conservative. We don't believe in this, and we're going to move forward.
Do you think they have proof to back up their reasoning? Because, again, they represent
if you want
districts.
proof, again, look to, again, the stats that were outlined here in the Cowboys Daily, that, again, over 50% of, it seemed like, Cheyenne residents are in favor of saying, yeah, let's
Okay, that's
decriminalize.
Cheyenne.
Okay, this is regarding Cheyenne, though. Again, if you want the pulse, you want the data. That, again, if you're a city council member, you now realize that, again, I think the quote was, again, 54% of residents here in this city say that, yeah, we need to
Then
move
put
forward.
it up for a vote.
That's what they're doing. But, again, will it move forward?
Yeah, but I don't
again,
want-
you're,
I don't
you're
want
holding,
10 city
you're holding
council
your
guys.
representatives to at least step up for you, again, as your, again, plain and simple, as your representative within this state, as a city council member, to at least vote in your, at least what is for your favor, or at least in your opinion, or at least what you want, and that's kind of the decision coming up this winter.
I don't think 10 members of the city council, including the mayor, should be making this decision. I think this should be put to a vote of the citizens of Cheyenne on a separate ballot. Because, again, you say 54% or 51%. Hey, let the people of Cheyenne decide if this should be legal or not, without legal process. Because, again, too, if I read the story right, according to Johnson, he says it'll save money on prosecution. Because, again, obviously you get busted for a misdemeanor, guys go through the court system, and it costs
It's a waste of money. Yeah, it's a waste of time. It's a waste of money.
So
And
let
again,
the voters decide on it. Why are we letting 10 members?
why wait when we can just get it done now, or at least kind of figure out where the city council kind of stands right now? It's something that, why wait? You had an opportunity, granted this past at least election cycle, but it's something that, all right, let's address it. Let's move
and
forward.
it wasn't brought up to the ballot. That's what gets me too with this. Again, I'm not nay or yay on this. I don't care. My point is, on this city council, all of a sudden now it's being brought up. It's been talked about for years. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Again, I couldn't even give you that argument because, again, I haven't
but the
looked at
city
it.
council is going to decide this. I don't think the city council should have the right to decide it. I think this should be brought up by the voters of the city of Cheyenne, not Laramie County. This should be a city of Cheyenne vote. Again, make it Laramie County.
This is also too something that, at least for me, where again you got to rely on other citizens within this city. That, again, here's a hard take. That, again, this is also to a city that, for whatever reason, can't pass forward a rec center.
I agree.
A city that, again, couldn't approve funding for, again, a renovated rack at LCCC. Instead, the LCCC had to go towards the state and beg them for money. And, again, look to outside donors for that.
See,
It's something that, again, in my opinion, as much as, again, they take off that information graphic, or at least that 54% that say, hey, in this poll, we believe that citizens are for it. Again, you would hope that would be true. And, again, if it came down to vote, that, again, it would pass by that statistic. But you still worry that, again, there's gonna be that variable that causes it to fail. And again, should it be to the people? Yeah, without a doubt. But this is something that, again, for marijuana, in my mind's eye, and again, I think with a lot of others, as, again, you're starting to see it. And you're starting to see it in conservative states. I do believe up in South Dakota, it's medically legalized. Again, you're starting to see it within a lot of states that are voting red that realize that this is ridiculous. Make it legal some way and regulate it.
And you said medically legalized, not just for.
I think it should be fully legalized, as what you see within Colorado,
Okay.
within again a lot of other states. But again, it's a if you want to move forward, you got to take it clearly in this state, in this city, in this county. You got to take it baby steps.
If we are going to be the leaders of the state, we are the state capital. And even Johnson admits he doesn't expect his proposal to pass. Well, again, he's bringing it out to the forefront. Kudos to him for that. Again, I say this should be put on a ballot. Let the citizens decide. Because if and it goes by your numbers, Nick, then this should be legalized. Okay? Now the next thing is it's legalized in Cheyenne, but we're still importing it from neighboring states.
Which again, I don't know what the disconnect with you. Again, you kind of look at me with a puzzled look on this situation where again, and again, Councilman Johnson kind of addressed it where again, it's something that as we go back, and again, we need to end this conversation and take a break here soon. Again, we got a couple of other topics, but very quickly to wrap things up, it's a situation that, yes, it's legal just about 10 miles south of us. That's it. 10 whole miles is the difference of getting a misdemeanor and it's completely free and legal over here of an imaginary line. That is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, again, as a human. That, again, something that is legal, again, over an imaginary line. And again, it's something that hopefully as Cheyenne, and again, the city council does recognize, if you move forward to legalizing it, all right, yeah, it takes away from the misdemeanors. It takes away from the prosecuting, all those fees and everything that costs the city and costs the police department or whatever it may be. But it's something that, again, you move forward, you set up a few dispensaries, you start cashing in like these other states are doing right now.
And I'm not arguing with you.
Keep those dollars here instead of going down to Colorado.
And again, I'm going to throw this at you. Look how long it took for this community, this state to, A, get Powerball in here and Lotto. Okay?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
So, again, I'm not arguing with your logic. I'm just saying, if you're going to make this, let's just say it passes here in Cheyenne, then you're going to have to open the state up to this. You can't just have one community legalize it. It's either going to be statewide or not. And again, too, why should we be held to the standards here in this town or in any other city to, again, what folks in Green River, Rock Springs may, or Gillette, or again, it's something where, again, we've seen, as you kind of contradict or at least kind of add to at least your point that, again, yeah, look how long it took us to get a lottery. It's ridiculous of how long it took. But it's something that, again, yes, I think on a hotbed issue like this, which, again, is ridiculous that it's even referred to as hotbed, but, again, it is here in this state, it's something that you got to break it down city by city, and hopefully it does put the pressure on the state to kind of move forward and say we need to accept this. Then it needs to be on a ballot. I think the citizens need to vote on this because, again, too, where you mentioned dispensaries in Colorado, we need to have them here too because, again, correct me if I'm wrong.
Guess what? That's where the city council comes in again with a business. Again, DDA, whatever it may be. Yeah, it's something that they all got to come together and figure that stuff out, get it all situated. But like I said, is it something that the state, you got to wait for the state to make a decision on? No, I think this is how you got to approach it here in this state.
Well,
is you got to go city by city,
and the city needs to step forward and again let the citizens speak, and maybe the rest of the state will follow suit. Don't know.
I think it would. I think plain and simple, Cheyenne leads it off. Your Cap City leads off with it. Laramie's following suit. Casper's probably following suit. Jackson, Teton County would follow suit right behind them. And who knows what other dominoes would fall on the moving forward to at least legalizing or at least kind of putting it in that medical at least stint.
Are you in agreement with me that the citizens should be the ones speaking about it?
I'm 50-50 on that. I think this is a necessary move by the city council to kind of get this ball rolling. Why wait to another at least election year or at least a time to at least get that vote out? No, address it now, get it done, and hopefully again it is a possibility. We'll see. Again, it's going to get talked about coming up on Wednesday. So we'll see what happens, what stems from it. But again, the fact that we're still having this conversation, that it's still up to debate here in this state, again, in my opinion, it's ridiculous. Get with the times and realize that, again, it's going to be an inevitable. I think that's something that we all, again, citizens, especially here in the state, you got to realize it's inevitable that this is going to be legalized within possibly your lifetime across this entire land.
Well,
it's coming.
Like I said, I think the people should have a say, not 10 members of the city council. All right, we are going to take a timeout. We'll come back with more right here on KRAE Reports that we can review.
Check out the huge savings this week at Town & Country Supermarket Liquors. Here are just a few of the terrific weekly specials. It's your one stop to shop for these super radio buys heard only right here. 1800 tequila, coconut, silver, or reposado. 750 milliliter bottle, $24.99. Keystone Light, 30-pack, 12-ounce cans, $20.99. And Carstairs American Blended Whiskey, 1.75-liter bottle, $13.99. Town & Country Supermarket Liquors on the South Greeley Highway, Cheyenne's low-price leader.
The next time you have a craving for authentic Mexican cuisine, visit Guadalajara at 1745 Del Range Boulevard. Locally owned and operated, they serve their dishes with family tried-and-true recipes, with the freshest of ingredients, made to order. Start off your meal with their complimentary chips, salsa, and bean dip. And if you're feeling adventurous, enjoy your favorite margarita or cerveza. Guadalajara, where the spice is always nice.
I'm Brandon Warner with a Silent Witness Crime of the Week. The Laramie County Sheriff's Office is seeking information related to a burglary that occurred in a 300 block of East Prosser Road. Between February 3rd and the 5th, a Connex container was broken into. A DeWalt skill saw and other tools were taken. If you have information about this or other crime, call Crime Stoppers Silent Witness at 638-TIPS or on the web at silentwitnesslaramiecounty.com. You will remain anonymous and may be eligible for a cash reward of up to $1,000. Together, we can make a difference.
Winter driving in Wyoming. Are you prepared? Winter storms strike quickly across Wyoming's high plains and the mountains. When they do, driving conditions can deteriorate rapidly and become very challenging. Make sure your vehicle is ready for the elements and you have an emergency preparedness kit available. Driving on slick roads, always remember slower speed, acceleration, steering, and braking. Also turn off the cruise control and always buckle up. Ice and snow. Take it slow. Know before you go. For travel info, call 511 or online at wildroad.info. Paid for by Federal Highway Safety Funds.
Hop into the KRAE Time Machine each Monday through Thursday for the golden age of radio, featuring famous radio classics such as Jack Armstrong and Suspense Theater, along with pioneers in the entertainment industry like Bob Hope and Abbott and Costello, along with many other performers who've captured our ears many, many years ago. Join us for the golden age of radio Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 p.m. on 1480 KRAE, also 101.1 FM, and you can also stream all of our programming on 1480krae.com.
Here's the latest weather forecast on 1480 KRAE.
Weather-wise for today, mostly cloudy. Expect a daytime high near 48 with a chance of snow developing this afternoon. Tonight continued mostly cloudy or low down to 26. A chance for snow showers in the evening, then all snow later tonight. For tomorrow, Tuesday, mostly cloudy and breezy. Look for a daytime high near 49 with a chance of snow developing in the afternoon. And for Tuesday night, mostly cloudy, a chance of snow or low down to 26. KRAE Reports that we can review. Larry Perotti along with Nick Perotti. Wyoming becomes the first state in the nation to ban abortion pills. And again, Nick, there's 26 red states, as I recall, and 24 blue states. Of course, the red states are always going to get the ration. Again, the Roe versus Wade decision reversed by the Supreme Court last summer. So, again, any red state that comes out with an anti-abortion type of amendment or procedure or, I guess, discussion is going to make headlines. So, Governor Gordon signed a ban on chemical abortions Friday, but let another abortion ban law become law without a signature. The state is now the first to explicitly ban pills for abortions, the method by which nearly all of its abortions occurred in 2021 and the majority in the previous 2 years. Your thoughts?
Again, it's one of those hotbed conversations across the land, and again, obviously with the Roe v. Wade decision. Again, I guess plain and simple, I get where Governor Gordon's coming on this, why he signed this in. Again, trying to move in that pro-life agenda, which, again, obviously is heavily favored within the state's borders. But, again, for me as a citizen, I couldn't be for this just due to the fact that, again, again, what is a state to tell you what to do, or at least what is illegal? Again, going back to the marijuana, going back to the drug war conversation where, again, it's like, what is the government's role to tell me what I can and can't do, can't use? And again, for me, I would say I have no dog in the fight, pro-life, pro-choice. But if I had to sit down and think about it, I'd be more on the pro-choice situation of those who are, able of mind. It's your body. Do whatever the hell you want with
again,
it.
too, this is what the Supreme Court did. They threw it into the state's laps, and basically states are autonomous. So they have their own laws and their rules and regulations. Again, I got to tell you, I sit right on the fence, pro-choice, pro-life. Again, I don't want to see it, but I understand why it happens. Okay?
Yeah, I get it.
So I'm right on the fence post on this one.
Yeah, I'd probably sit on there. Like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight. It's something that I'd probably more side with, again, the pro-choice situation. But again, I understand the arguments against it, especially on the at least economic side, where again there are those added costs. Again, all these clinics, which again does trickle down to some taxpayers, not all, but it's something that I get that on economic side, but. Again, in this, obviously, this is a hotbed controversy. Again, it made national waves. Again, with Wyoming being the first state to do this, will other states fall suit behind them?
Absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt. But again, what will be the pushback? Or again, we're already seeing the pushback even within the state. That again, I do believe out of Teton County, at least one, I do believe one district court judge out in Teton County is fighting with a lawsuit, and we'll see what happens from that. Again, who knows what else ramifications will be stemming from this regarding the state. Again, will the feds come on down and kind of say, hey, sorry, Governor Gordon, you can't have this. We're going to take this away.
The feds have nothing to do with
this.
But
I'm just saying, again, who knows what they could possibly do, again, as we've seen that before. Again, go back during the COVID time where, again, Governor Gordon didn't sign that executive action with Texas and a few other states to fight, whatever the mandates were coming in from the COVID times. Again, go back to the reasoning Governor Gordon didn't do it was, I didn't want, the ramifications or the possibilities of the administration to at least send Wyoming's way if we were to sign this. So, again, will there be anything coming down on the Fed side about this? Probably not. But again, who knows what will stem legislative or at least kind of lawsuit-wise within the state or outside of the state saying, hey, how can you allow this, or why did you sign this? Or, again, in my mind's eye with this, at least this ban on abortion pills, or at least the chemical abortions, it does take away of a human, or at least a freedom within individuals here in the state to use. But you got to imagine that these lawsuits or anything that would come down probably aren't going to hold a whole lot of weight.
They won't be effective.
But we'll see. It's kind of right now the wait and see situation right now in the state of what more could happen, or what's going to at least kind of come into the state border to at least try to shut this down. All
right. Again, that there could be so many discussions on that. Just to let you know that happened with the governor. Our final piece of business here before we wrap things up again, a short program for today. Last week, correct me if I'm wrong, Nick.
Monday.
A Monday night train derailment in Cheyenne. Wasn't a massive natural disaster, but doesn't mean that it's not a noteworthy event, courtesy of the Cowboy State Daily. UP spokesperson Mike Jackson told the Cowboy State Daily the next day that the 12-car derailment happened near Terrell Chevrolet and Cheyenne Livestock and resting just southwest of downtown Cheyenne. That's out where our tower site is at. The derailment was still being cleaned up, and the event is under investigation.
If I remember, again, it was transporting cars, kind of just, yeah, nothing dangerous,
Not
no
chemicals.
chemicals, as we've seen across the nation right now with, again, a lot of these train derailments, and that is kind of, and again, this is kind of the big concern where we were going to at least, and I've been trying to outreach the Union Pacific, or at least try to get a spokesperson on to talk about this. We were going to talk about, again, as we had a couple months ago with the whole union strike and the whole deadline to at least get a deal signed in, which, again, was eventually moved forward by the Biden administration. But this is, again, as Cheyenne's a hub for Union Pacific, train depot, again, we know we have a lot of trains that go past us back and forth, and we
a lot
know,
of coal.
and not even coal. We know even with F.E. Warren, there's a lot of chemicals that do get dispersed within those lines that do get transported to here or again down the line, and it is a growing concern here for Cheyenne as we see, Ohio. We saw the train derailment, I do believe, in West Virginia, and you go down to Texas, I think around Houston. It's something that it is a concern, and you kind of wonder right now what is Union Pacific's role in trying to avoid another situation like this. Again, we got lucky here, this train derailment, but what says the next one?
What's causing the train derailments? What do you think?
Is it bad rails? Is it
Engineer error?
It sounds like it is. A lot of it is engineer. I wouldn't say error. It sounds like, again, and this stems back from, again, why those unions were fighting for these deals. And again, we talked about these stories of plenty, especially that affected here in the state of Wyoming, that it's being overworked. It's a lack of employees. It's the working conditions for a lot of these train conductors that are unfavorable that cause a lot of these accidents. And again,
what about the
this a
tracks?
contributing factor?
Are the tracks? I mean, again,
You got to imagine they're well maintained. Again, you see those trucks up and down those.
you see them, but what are they doing? Are they maintaining them?
Do you know?
I don't
You
know.
would assume that they are maintaining them, but
then what-
or at least kind of scouting them. But again, it sounds like majority of this is that kind of
Operator error?
that user error, but it's not necessarily their fault. It sounds like it is working conditions. It's being overworked. It's lack of sleep. It's this or that, which again has been addressed. And we've talked about this months ago, before any of this has ever happened, or at least now these stories kind of pop up, it seems like almost daily here in this country. But it's something that it sounds like lack of a workforce for these, whether it is Burlington Northern, whether it is Union Pacific, whether it is, the Norfolk Southern. It sounds like it's working conditions. It's overworking these individuals that are causing these accidents. Because, again, we go back to the Norfolk Southern situation out there in East Palestine in Ohio. At first it was a Trump administration decision of a brake operating system. And then that was immediately turned down saying, no, that's false. That it just sounded like it was user error. It's something that these train companies.
It's called passing the buck. The question is, who's responsible? Is it UP's responsibility for the train derailment?
Yes.
Or is it the city of Cheyenne for not maintaining the tracks? I mean, I don't know. Who's responsible for all of these accidents?
I think it's plain and simple. It falls on the train companies. Again, we're seeing that in the Ohio situation still, as much as that's kind of been swept aside as that's kind of the news cycle in this day and age. But you got to imagine that, or at least in my opinion, and I think it holds true with a lot of others as well too, for those citizens that are affected by this. Again, it should land on Norfolk Southern to pick up and kind of accept the blame on that and start moving forward. With
so
stuff.
let's
And
talk
again,
about the
this-
amount of lawsuits against them. Couldn't that run that company out of business? The amount of lawsuits?
So
Well, so now you have
obviously for negligence and whatnot. Again, I think that they should lose a lot of money just due to the fact of, again, doing this and causing as much harm as they have done out there in Ohio. Again, that's one accident. Who knows how many more could be down the line? And again, will it be with Norfolk Southern? Will it be with Burlington Northern, Santa Fe, Union Pacific? We're starting to see these train derailments happen pretty damn often right now. Is it stemming from, again, the overwork, from the conditions that these companies are putting on their employees? Right now it sounds pretty damn valid that that's what's happening right now, that these companies These CEOs, these bosses, or again, whoever's in charge are causing this and trying to put the little man at fault. And again, the little man being the train conductors or engineers on these trains that are being derailed. Should Norfolk Southern be hit with a lot of lawsuits or at least a lot of legal action? Yeah.
But you know what you're
'Cause
saying?
I think they're responsible
But you
for
know
it.
what you're saying without saying it? This should all be handled by the government. The government should run the railroads.
No.
The government should be in charge of drugs. Again, you're throwing everything to Big Brother.
You did not, go back and rewind the tape and see where I said, again, government should regulate. No, it's something that these companies, they got to treat their workers a hell of a lot better or get workforce in. Figure out something because, again, it is within those
then
companies.
they shouldn't be operating then until they have their house in order.
I don't think that's fair because,
Well,
again, you have to pay employees.
But obviously, if you're running it part-time, Nick, and you're overworking people, then that's going to be a cause for error, right?
And that's what we're seeing.
And guess what? I just can't. Me as a businessman, I couldn't afford something like this. If a train derailed in East Palestine, and I'm thinking to myself, oh my goodness, I got to get the attorneys together. How much is this going to cost us? Because again, we're insured.
Well, guess what? Again, a lot of those companies, again, Union Pacific, they got millions, if not billions. Again, let's look into and divulge. Again, not saying the situation here with Union Pacific is the same to Norfolk Southern or again the other train companies around this country, but again, it sounds like a lot of this is cutting costs. A lot of this, and we've learned that from the East Palestine, or at least kind of the investigation regarding it, is that these companies are cutting costs. They're saving dollars to ultimately have that bigger revenue on their back end. And who is that benefiting?
Yeah.
It's them. It's those at the top.
So
It's making sure that they got the cushy kind of offices wherever they are located.
we
in.
cut services and we cut maintenance and we cut staff
Ultimately for your bottom
to
dollar.
deliver the product.
Yeah. To make sure that your bottom dollar. And again, are we shocked by this? I don't think you should be shocked by this because, again, even outside of the train industry, look how many other industries cut corners to ultimately make sure their bottom dollar looks a hell of a lot better than it did. Again, we look to, and I think we even talked about Union Pacific over the past couple of years, they have benefited millions over the past. They've been in surplus for the past couple of years. So is that again from underpaying, undervaluing workers, cutting maintenance costs, not upgrading trains or making sure they're maintenance? Not going to assume, but it makes you think. It wouldn't surprise me. We're starting to see that right now with the Norfolk Southern situation out in the East Palestine. That sounds like, hey, we cut costs, we cut corners, just so we made a little bit more to make sure that, again, our investors or whoever are making a little bit more money. Doesn't surprise me.
And then
Doesn't surprise me that, again, why we're seeing a lot of these train derailments, but it's something that it needs to be addressed. And, again, it should be concerning to folks here in Cheyenne that we just had one. We got lucky with this train car, but we know there are other hazardous train cars that do pass through this city unbeknownst to, again, a lot of us. But what if it's that train that eventually tips over and we got an East Palestine situation here in Cheyenne?
Well, one thing we shouldn't expect is the government to be here and bail us out, because look how long it took.
You can't even rely on the company. Again, look at Norfolk Southern that passed the buck that said, "Hey, it's not our."
I know.
Sorry, it's not us.
But again, what you're telling me though is Norfolk Southern is an independent, but yet everybody wanted the transportation department to look into this thing.
They're supposed to. The NTSB, or at least again a lot of that, they gotta. You got to figure out what the hell's going on here, because obviously that company's not going to be front open and honest with you. They haven't still, as much as all this investigation is coming out.
Well, then again, now you're asking for government regulation, that the transportation department needs to regulate every mile of track.
It already does.
But
clearly it does. You might want to do some research. Again, it does.
Well, obviously
but
the
it's
guy
something-
that's currently running the transportation department has no clue what the hell he's doing.
Again,
Buttigieg,
yeah,
he's a knucklehead.
yeah, we already know that. Again, a lot of those are kind of incompetent at the top, but
Yeah,
it's something that.
and guess what?
But it's
When
something.
you got
But it's something.
incompetence-
Again, as much as I hate government and government regulation, it's something that it is a benefit in keeping some of these companies from passing the buck when again a devastating event happens like this. When again it's their own fault when they do it to their employees and try to pass it down to their employees. When they try to put that person at fault, when again it truly isn't. When it's more so of them rushing them to work, causing them. And again, I think we could even make up the argument. And again, we see and we talk about it plenty on I-80, especially during this wintertime. How much pressure is by trucking companies on these truck drivers to get these loads into their destination, even to cross I-80 as dangerous as it is during the wintertime?
Well, we know the training process is not there. Because, again, the way some of these, and I'm going to use the word, younger truckers, they are not.
There's older truckers that do it too. I don't want to hear that argument anymore. I think it's ridiculous because, again, I just saw a recent accident on I-80 that, again, involved, it seemed like an older gentleman.
okay.
At least that closed down that summit yesterday.
All right. Well, again, time is money to the trucking industry. We obviously know that.
And time is money to, again, clearly the train industry as well, too. And it's overworking these employees. So, again, is something, clearly nothing is really happening or coming down the pike. But how many more accidents or, again, potential devastating events need to happen before someone steps up and steps in and says, hey,
Evidently, there's going to be more because obviously all we get out of Washington, first off, is a bunch of gas. That's all we get out of them. Nothing but hot air. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Norfolk Southern. We're going to do this, we're going to do that. Nobody does anything. You know who gets hurt? The people.
duh.
Plain and simple. And again, too, watch how many of these quote lawsuits
Are the again
are tied up in courts forever.
It seemed like you kind of complain that they're getting sued or again hitting with these lawsuits. No, they deserve it. If you're going to pass a buck, if you're not going to step up and own up to again your mistake or again what you are doing, then yeah, I think you should be sued out of everything.
And how do they recoup that money, Nick? Again, it's a really bad cycle. They're going to.
It's a tough situation, but again for Norfolk Southern, or at least those at the top, screw them.
Yeah, but you know what?
It does trickle down to again the average employee, which is again unfortunate, but it's something that a company that operates like that is got to cease.
You know who's wrong in all of this? It's not the presidents or the CEOs of these companies. It's not the courts, the attorneys. You know who's going to end up getting it in the shorts? You and me. Because again, whatever they get sued for, they're going to turn around and they've got to recoup their monies, right? They're going to turn around and charge us more to ship these goods and services or these chemicals.
Guess
whatever.
what? Norfolk Southern is not the only operator in this land.
No,
There's other ways to ship goods.
And again, trucking.
And it's not just train
same
only.
thing in the trucking industry. You got a massive collision on I-80. Look at all the products and services that are gone out of an 18-wheeler that gets crushed. Guess who ends up paying the bill?
If
We
you
do.
realize that again, the amount of trucks that are in accidents that again products are lost. Again, even look to thefts that have happened over the past couple of years with the COVID situation. That again, outside of eggs, which again, when shopping the other day, eggs are back down to normal. But again, toothpaste, deodorant, kind of goes in hand with inflation, but it seems like those products have kind of kept the same. But you kind of imagine that a lot of those products have been lost, stolen, gone, reused. Who knows? I don't know. That's why insurance does exist as well, too. But it's something that, again, plain and simple to wrap things up with the Union Pacific situation. Again, we got lucky this time. It's not a question of if. It's kind of right now a question of when.
Yeah.
When will that event happen?
When's enough?
Where is it going to happen? Could it happen here in Cheyenne? I think, as we just saw, again, a recent train derailment happened here again last week. Damn sure says, yeah, it could happen. It could be us. And you got to kind of hold the fire to Union Pacific on what are we doing to avoid this? How do we avoid this?
And they're going to give you the standard line. We're maintaining our tracks. We're doing all this. But like you said, I think you're absolutely right. The new contracts that are in, Well, that's great that, you're getting paid more money and you got better benefits, but you're doing the work of 3 people. That's not cutting it, right?
Yeah.
It's a lack of manforce or workforce.
Yeah, which again everyone's dealing with, but
And that's where Union Pacific and Norfolk Southern and BNSF, Santa Fe, that's where they should be held accountable.
This is
How
where-
come your
this-
workforce is not matched up to the deliveries of these products?
yeah, it's something that I think it's overworked. It's stress. It's trying to keep that bottom dollar green. That again, it's something that don't care. Here's overtime. Get the product to this location now. And I think that that's kind of the main cause for a lot of these situations. And it's something that if the bottom dollar is your concern, start cutting back on some CEO dollars. Cutting back on some of those, again.
That ain't going to happen.
Yeah, it won't. But again, that's where you need to start. Where right now, to address a problem, you got to start at the top. Start cutting back on some of those.
And the CEO is going to look you right in the face and say, we got no problems.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing.
So, again, the fat cats are always going to stay fat, Nick, no matter what you say, how you want to address it, how you want to go about
Well, then hopefully again,
presenting your case. But you know what? Again, the fat cats are protected by the government. Remember that, too. How much money you got? Money talks. All right, well, we're going to wrap things up here for today. We will try to give you a full sports program tomorrow. We will be on at 11 o'clock. It will be, what is our program called? The Pro Show, you and me.
there you go.
And again, we will be doing on the local side, so we should have hopefully some local coaches joining us. But our program here today will re-air from 4 until 5.
Yeah.
So do join us here on 1480 KRAE. Closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. Also, too, again, join us 8 until 10 o'clock, Golden Age of Radio, All-Star Western Theater ×2, and then followed up with Meet the Press, some of the old interviews from back in the day. That is 8 until 10 o'clock, Monday through Thursday now, as, again, we are kind of without sports here for at least about a month here on 1480 KRAE before we switch into baseball with Post 6, possibly get some softball in with, again, the Extreme or Wyco. We will see how our spring/summer events kind of line up, but right now, at least for Golden Age of Radio, it is back to the full week program again, Monday through Thursday, 8 until 10 o'clock here on 1480 KRAE.
So for Nick Proati, I'm Larry Proati. That wraps up KRAE Reports, a week in review.